Welcome to our posts. Today we will see stories of r/trueofmitchest. I called CPS on my brother today. My brother and his family came to visit me. While on a walk with my nephew, he confided in me that his father hits him. I asked clarifying questions, and it became apparent that my brother frequently beats him. I told him I would speak to my brother and set him straight. My nephew went white as a ghost, started crying hysterically, and begged me not to. A few hours later, my nephew hit his younger brother while roughhousing. His father pulled him into a room to talk to him. I followed in case I needed to intervene. From the hallway, I heard my brother say, "If you don't stop hitting, then it's my turn to start hitting you." I am a mandatory reporter due to my profession. I called CPS on my brother today. I know I did the right thing, but I'm beyond sad that I had to make that phone call. Next story. I found out my sister slept with my fiancé, and I'm not sorry about what I did after. 30-year-old woman here. I have a sister who's just a year older than me. We've always had such a good relationship, so finding out about this one hurt. She might as well have just stabbed me in my heart. On top of that, I've been with my fiancé since high school, and we've always been with each other through thick and thin. We were going to get married in a few months. I have no idea why on earth they did this to me. What's even worse was that our mom knew, and out of fear of getting involved, my sister apparently begged her not to say a word. She didn't tell me anything. Thankfully, my dad wasn't having it, and he spilled the beans to me. I've never been so angry in my life. Not only did I kick my fiancé out and throw out his stuff, some of it in the trash, but I decided to hurt my sister in another way. Why not do the same for my fiancé? Simple, she's my sister. We've always had a good relationship until she decided to ruin it months before my big day, which I allowed her to be a bridesmaid in. You don't do that to anyone, let alone your sister. Your blood. My sister's big on gardening, so when she lost her dog, she made a garden for him. I knocked on her door, she didn't know that I knew, and of course I played nice. I moved on to what she did with my fiancé, and I slightly damaged her garden. I honestly just crushed a couple flowers. Am I sorry? No. Her excuse sent me over the edge. It just happened isn't a reason. Sleeping with my fiancé just happened like that, I guess. I told her I didn't want her speaking to me anymore, and that I also didn't want our mom to speak to me. My fiancé won't say a word since I threatened to call the police if he ever went near me again. Yay, I made my sister cry and scream at me, but I genuinely feel like I should be the one crying. She knew how important getting married was to me, and now I can't experience that. Pair that with the fact that I had to hear this from my dad, not my bum excuse of a sister or fiancé. Hell, even my own mother didn't say a word to me. It's like she lets my sister run her. F you, Tia. F you, Logan. If they ever see this, I'd be absolutely delighted. Edit. Since many people keep bringing this up, I'm upset that I lost the relationship I've always put 100% into. I was excited to get married, of course, but then this news came out. It really hurt me. I didn't want to believe it at first. I almost thought my dad was pulling my leg. Later turned out to be true. I swear I have trust issues now. Edit 2. Thanks again for all the suggestions, y'all. It's helping me feel more confident in exposing them. I'm just a bundle of nerves right now because I know crap's gonna hit the fan again. When I do so, I'll try my best to come with an update. I mean, it's the least y'all deserve, haha. Last edit. When I say I decided to hurt her, it's because I kinda ruined something so meaningful to her. I feel like for most people besides on here, that would be a bit far. That's just how I feel though. I understand it's not what you guys wanted, lol. Clearly worked a bit though, since she thought I was so damn psychotic for that. Like I said, I don't feel sorry about hurting her that way. Update. Hey everyone. Seems like my other post has been deleted. Thanks again for the comments and support. I found out quite a bit. To start off, I did expose her and my ex on my story. I unblocked them both to tag them. Shout out to one of the commenters who wrote down what I should say. I saved it and wrote it, but added some other words of my own. My ex actually blocked me after he saw my story. I sent my Reddit post to my sister after. At the time, she didn't see, but I got a call from my ex's mom. She was furious about everything, but she asked me how I was holding up and if I've heard the news. My heart sank a little because I honestly couldn't bear to hear any more bad news. I asked her what she was talking about. She said, "So you haven't?" I said no and asked her to tell me. My sister's pregnant. Apparently, Logan told her in an attempt to make her chill out on my sister. I didn't want to hear any more, so I told her I needed to hang up the phone. Thankfully, she accepted because I literally burst into tears 2 seconds later. After 5 minutes of crying, my sister responded to my story and texted with a Reddit post link. She was texting me in all caps begging me to take it down. If I wasn't so upset, I would have laughed a little, but I just sat there watching her blow up my phone. I got even angrier when she said, "I'm coming over and I'm telling mom that you're spreading my business online, all right? You big baby." Still never responded though. I felt frozen. 30 minutes later, she's trying to break my door down, so I opened it in a fit of rage and I started screaming all kinds of crap at her. She kept screaming at me to take it down, and I told her that's gonna stay up for as long as I want it to. She kept telling me she didn't deserve online hate, and she even tried telling me that she's always been there for me through everything and that she would have forgiven me if it was the other way around. That's when I punched her. A small part of me felt guilty. I'm not the fighting type, and that was probably evident in my last post, haha. But she retaliated by saying, "It's not my fault Logan was tired of you." And that's when I told her that I hope she ends up like her dog, and that she deserves every bit of hate she's getting for ruining my relationship. I even apologized for not ruining her entire garden and her stupid face at first. I know I'm wrong for saying this, but the entire time, she was playing the victim. She called me evil and told me to rot in hell. Kept saying I was punishing her over a mistake. I said, "You have no idea what you've put me through, and I know you would have done the same thing if you were the victim." She kept crying and insulting me because all she's ever done was support me through everything, and I had the nerve to punch her in the face and allow strangers to bash her on the internet. I told her she deserved it, and I don't want her talking to me ever again, and if she comes near me, I'm calling the police. She kept saying I was being extremely unfair and that she said she was sorry in her texts, but I wasn't having it. I told her to tell mom I'm not talking to her again either. She asked me if I was really going to cut her off like that, and I just wished her good luck with her unwanted child and told her to go home. That was the last time she walked off my porch. Anyway, I had to clean up my favorite vase, but it doesn't even matter. At least they're out of my life. However, it's weird how sad I feel now. It's for my own good, but damn, I'll never experience the bond we had again. On the bright side, seems like I've dodged 2 bullets. Thanks again, though everyone, maybe I do need therapy. Last edit to say that my dad called not too long ago asking me to take every post down because according to my mother, my sister is bawling her eyes out over mean people on the internet. As if I'm taking anything down. My dad's pissed about her pregnancy, but my mom continues to defend her by saying we need to chill out on her a little bit. This is why I'm not talking to her. Thanks again though, everyone. I'm exhausted and I need to worry about other things. Last update. I've officially decided to go LC with my dad today. Surprisingly, he wasn't that upset about it. However, he's still on team, take down the posts, and that's why I made my decision. My mom wants nothing to do with me because if I wasn't going to respect the family, there's no point in trying to get to you. Wow, it's almost like that's what I wanted. My cousin and my ex's sister have been supporting me. Apparently, my sister has had meltdown after meltdown because more people are slowly finding out about the affair, not only in person but on the internet. She actually got into it with my cousin online, and according to my cousin, my sister keeps asking her to tell me to take down the posts because she's sorry and she felt pressured into doing what she did. Last I even heard about my ex was from his sister. She told me that they did speak, and although he's not ready for a child, he doesn't feel comfortable leaving my pregnant sister on her own. He also wants me to stop what I'm doing, but oh well, they're made for each other. Anyway, I've surprisingly been feeling a bit better thanks to my cousin and my new sister, as I like to call my ex's sister now, haha. I've actually gotten some good sleep. Still considering therapy too. A very tiny part of me feels pretty bad for exposing my sister and ex, and I'll always miss the relationship I've had with them even despite my last encounter with my sister, but they've hurt me and it's what they deserve. If they're not taking it well, that's their problem. Thanks everyone once again. Next story. My wife saved my life. My wife stood up to me and gave me an ultimatum. Either rehab, clean up in a hotel, or she was taking the kids and leaving. I was furious. I was destroyed. I was coming down off of some substances. I freaked out. I shouted. I screamed. I packed my bags and told her I'd never see her again. I went to the hotel and broke down. I'd never felt so alone. I thought I'd lost my family, the only things that are important to me. Of course, this was the withdrawal talking. My wife stood up to me. She loved me so much that she wanted me to get clean. She knew that our marriage could be over, but she wanted me to be healthy even if I left. Now in hindsight, I've never been so proud of my wife. She was terrified and still did what was necessary. In my eyes, she's a giant. She literally saved my life with her ultimatum. I was going down a really dark path. I would have absolutely lost everything. I was getting into worse and worse substances. I'm only 11 days clean, but I'm back home and going through therapy and just talking to her every day about how I feel and why I went down that road. Every day I'm a little stronger. I love her so much. Edited to add, it's not opioids, thankfully. Next story. I left our polyamorous marriage for my close friend. 30M and 33F. We were married for 5 years and together for 8. At some point in our marriage, my wife asked if I would be open to have a polyamorous relationship. I wanted to say no, but was afraid of being labeled as insecure and losing her. She had polyamorous relationships previously and had much more experience than me sexually. She was my first and only partner. We had an extensive preparation period reading books, going to therapy and communicating. I thought I was ready, but apparently I wasn't. I wasn't even confident that I could find partners. She did it easily through dating apps, and all I got was 0 matches. I communicated it to her. We took good photos and changed our profile according to her comments. In the end, I still got no dates, though matched with few people. We had several boundaries in the relationship. Always use protection. Always prioritize each other over other partners. No sex in our bed, no friends, and don't get into relationship with people we both know. I must give it to her that if I were a polyamorous person, she would be a great partner. She regularly checked in and communicated with me, but I couldn't do the same. I couldn't be honest. Over time, I started building resentment, which I kept to myself. At the time, I started talking about it drinking with one of my female friends, 30F. We didn't spend much time together back then. We shared some hobbies but talked to each other maybe every other week. That drinking and discussion time we had together was the only thing that was supporting me. She was listening to me, validating my feelings, and being a shoulder that I can lean on. We didn't have sex, but it turned into a strong emotional connection which we later confirmed as love. That kept on for a while until I realized I don't want to be together with my wife anymore. I had a discussion with my wife about ending the marriage. She was shocked because I didn't communicate previously about anything before and just dumped my feelings at once to her. She called for closing the marriage and going to a counselor to focus on ourselves. I rejected and in the end filed for divorce. She tried really hard to fix our relationship, but I didn't reciprocate any of her actions. I know I was unfair to my ex-wife. She would make a great partner for a polyamorous person, but I realized I am demisexual and monogamous. Once I connected with someone else, I completely lost connection with her. I cheated on her in the standard of polyamorous relationships. We are still together with my ex-close friend and going strong at it. I hope the future will bring good things for us. Next story. I hit my dad. My parents have been at each other's throats all day today, happens all the time, and it finally escalated to my father physically abusing my mother. I-17F was in another room when I heard her scream. Ran to her bedroom to find my father trying to pin her to the bed. I was so scared I literally didn't know what to do except scream at him to stop. He wouldn't let go. They fight all the time, but it rarely ends up with them being physical with each other. So this was something I definitely did not expect. My two brothers were also in the room with me at the time. I grabbed a huge hardcover book lying around and hit my dad in the head with it. It was really the only way I could stop him. It worked and probably hurt like crap. He looked absolutely shocked for a split second before letting go of her and advancing on me with pure rage. I have never seen him that angry. He didn't get very far because my mom and brothers stepped in. Luckily, he left after that. But I know he wants to beat the living crap out of me. I'm angry my brothers didn't do anything but stand there and watch my dad try to strangle my mother. I know they were just as shocked and terrified of his rage as I was, but seriously, what the F? I was shaking the moment I hit him with that book and was still shaking an hour later. I regret hitting him. I've never hit my father before, and I know this is something he will never let go. But if I could switch that book with a knife, I would have. Edit. Thank you so much for your responses. I'm overwhelmed and very grateful. I haven't talked to my mother since it happened, but did talk to my dad. He was pissed as I expected, but actually forgave me, which shouldn't matter because he hurt my mother, but I know he won't try to hurt me now. I still carry a pepper spray just in case though. I don't live in the States, but will be attending university there next year. My country does not have any enforcing laws against domestic violence. It pains me to say this, but calling the police in this situation is simply worthless. My mother alerted her family about what happened, and I think my dad knows because he hasn't tried to start anything with her today in fear of what her family may do. I've tried telling my mom countless times to file for divorce, but she won't because it will affect me and my brother's education since divorce proceedings takes years where I live. She also told me to never interfere with her and Dad's fights for my safety, but I can't bear watching her get beat up while I do nothing. She says she can handle him. She earns well enough to move out and live comfortably somewhere else, just so you know. I honestly feel like she's given up, and the only thing she wants right now is for me and my brothers to leave the country and start our lives somewhere new. There's nothing I can do to convince her to leave him as well. It's her call. For now, I've made sure to record everything and take pictures of her bruises if she ever decides to divorce. Luckily, there were none on her neck but plenty on her arms. I'm sorry if this was not the update you wanted to see, but my dad won't be held accountable for his actions, not where I live. The only way to leave is to wait till I turn legal. I want to get my mother out of this situation as soon as that happens. Next story. We are moving my sister's final resting place because people who like crime as a hobby won't leave us alone. I have been sick over this. My sister was murdered, and ever since her death our family has been bothered by people who like crime and murder as a hobby. And no, I will not tell you my sister's name or anything about her murder. One time an American woman posted a video online where she talked about my sister's murder while putting on her makeup. She happily talked about my sister's death while she put on her makeup. It made me sick. My family has decided to have my sister exhumed and cremated. We are tired of people going to her grave and posing for pictures like you would do when you are on vacation and having a good time. We cannot even visit her grave in peace. It has been years, and we get no peace. If these crime and murder hobby people see us, they bother us. It's bad enough we get people coming to our homes or trying to make friends with us to get information about my sister. But seeing people post pictures of themselves posing at the grave was putting a strain on us. My family decided to have my sister cremated and keep the place we are scattering her ashes a secret. These people who like murder and crime for a hobby make me sick. And no one don't care if anyone tries to tell me differently or say they have this hobby, but are different. I have been sick over this. If anyone asks for information about my sister, I'll ignore it. Next story. My wife being away on a trip showed me how much I compromised. I'll start by saying I love my wife more than anything in the world. She is truly the kindest person I know, and her smile makes my heart skip a beat. But since she went on her trip, I've had the best nights and calmest, most productive days of my life. I can have a full night's sleep now that I don't have to let her cats sleep with us. Love the little guys, but they will try to wake us up at random times during the night. Or they'll play run across the house and dolphin dive on us. I also don't wake up gasping for air because their hair got sucked up my nose. During the day, I can go to the gym or run errands guilt-free, and I no longer have to worry about having to spend 3 to 4 hours in bed watching a show I don't like. The house is no longer messy and covered in clothes. The cats no longer break the dozens of glasses she'd leave around, and our bed isn't covered in random food bits. That's all going away pretty soon as she's coming back. And I know I'll never see it again because I tried to bring all those things up before and it always ended in huge arguments. Next story. He cheated. He really cheated. I'm on mobile and typing through my tears. Yesterday, I26F got a "Hey girly" DM from an old college friend G27F about my husband R28M. As far as I knew, she was living a different city, but apparently she moved to our city like 8 months ago. She sent me screenshots of their messages and their sexts, and had selfies of them after they FY. I've been busy at work and admittedly not spending as much time at home, but he's the love of my life, and I never thought he could do something like this. I confronted R, and he admitted it right away. He said it was supposed to be a one-time thing. He and G met up for dinner when she moved, but things progressed, so they started dating. Yes, dating. She had no idea about me. He doesn't post me on his socials because his online presence is dedicated to his personal fitness business, so she just assumed he was a fit, handsome, single guy. He never mentioned me once. It was only when G started mentioning marriage and kids that R got nervous and dodgy, and mentioned trouble with his ex-wife if they were to get married. The ex-wife being me, his wife of 4 years. She mentioned this because, drum roll, she's 3 months pregnant. Thinking they were exclusive, she hasn't slept with anyone else, which means the baby is his. His. She Googled my name and found out that not only were we together, we were married. 4 years of marriage, 3 more years of dating, down the drain. I told R to get the F out, and he tried to argue, but he knew he had no chance. He's staying at a friend's house, and after lurking on Reddit for so long, I texted him my entire reason for kicking him out, and he sent an apology reply admitting to everything, so I have it all in writing. I'm still messaging G. She feels totally awful about the whole situation, and I really feel for her. We've actually become close in the last day or two, as weird as that sounds. But we're both in the middle of some trauma, and leaning on each other has helped. I'm leaving him, if that wasn't clear. G has also said she wants nothing to do with R except child support. I texted him to come over tomorrow to talk, and he said he would, and I contacted a lawyer this morning and sent her everything I have. She replied after about 2 hours and said this case wouldn't be a problem. Basically, it was a slam dunk. She also offered to mention the case to a colleague in family court, but G hasn't made her mind up about that yet. She's just as overwhelmed about this as I am. I'm just grateful I didn't have kids with this son of a BTCH, and I'm still young and hot, while R's a gross cheating cheater. Anyway, not really looking for advice here. I'm aware of my way forward. Just wanted to get this true of Mitchest. Edit. I genuinely thank you all for the advice regarding G. I'll be cutting contact after she gets her test results back. Edit 2, you all were right. G is up to something. Tomorrow, once I've had some sleep, I'll update further. But thank you all for your advice. I hope you guys like this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share, and subscribe the channel R posts.